All right, Islam, everybody. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. All rise, please, and face the east for the Moorish American prayer. Allah,
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 the Father of the universe,
Father
Father
of
of
the
the
universe,
universe,
Father of love,
Father of
Father
love,
of love,
truth,
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 peace,
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 freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and
and
justice.
justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is
Allah
my
is my
protector,
protector,
my guide,
my God,
and my salvation,
and my
and my
salvation,
salvation,
by night and by day,
by
by
night
night and by day,
and by day,
through his holy prophet,
through his
through his
holy
holy
prophet,
prophet,
through Ali.
through Ali.
Islam, Islam, Islamism. Okay, I want to announce that the meeting is now open. First and foremost, we always rise and give the highest praise to the Most High, our Father God Allah. We also give honors to his illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for returning our divine creed and nationality to us. We give honors also to the forerunner to the prophet, our brother, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for purity and love. We give honors to all the eight up sheiks and all the faithful Moors out there that make up the grand body of the Moorish divine and national movement. In addition to that, we give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh by our prophet, Brother Emili Il, and honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother K. Dandridgel. Also, honors to the Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and honors to all faithful on this call. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Right, and I'll be reading the divine constitution and bylaws. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in the flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4, all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and a partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5, this organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of this earth. This is why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7, all members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, You must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Moorish American Prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Drew Ali, home office Chicago, Illinois, U.S.A. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Now, Brother Cole Bay, would you please read the writ to the Prophet?
Islam. I rise and give all honors and praise to the great God Allah. I rise and give honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I rise and give prophets to our forerunner, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Rise and give all praise to every Muslim on the line and all Muslims on the planet. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, and on the streets. We are for peace. Excuse me. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the prophet or violate the covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and the prophet is not right. The temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting the prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is instructions from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one to judge the world, and his judgment is on now. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of times is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that is why many hearts are turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, least they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Morris, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation. They claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now, since they found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finances so badly as I do at present, so I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Love you, Morris.
Islamism. All right. Thank you, Brother Cole Bay. Brother Seymour Bay, would you please read the additional laws?
Islam. First I rise and give praise to the Most High, Father God Allah. Honors to his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the forerunner to the prophet, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Honors to all you faithful Moors on the call. Additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. Grand sheikhs and governors and heads of all temples, all businesses. Each said temple must be approved by the prophet Noble Drew Ali before acting upon by any member, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause a member to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group or members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under heavy restrictions, etc., by the prophet or the grand sheikh. Act 2, all members are to attend their added meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around in their meeting period, he shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If a member is working, his monthly dues must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3, it is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to finance, to aid me in saving the nation. If he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands and I have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4, all members while making a public speech must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5, all members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school come the guiders of the nation. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7, all members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This is the divine covenant from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Islam, Islam, Islamism.
All right, Islamism. Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. But first, just want to ask to the brother Terrence that just joined, if you can hear me in the either in the chat or you can unmute your mic. Just announce where you're calling in from, and you can in the chat you could share just share your contact information. We do this on every meeting. Just need to know your location and contact email or phone number. All right, looks like you have your hand up too. Yeah, feel free to speak. You can unmute your mic. Okay. Well, if you don't know how, if you're on a phone, you have to tap the screen, and then you'll see some options come up where you can turn on the mic. If you're on a computer, it's easy. You just you should see the little mic icon. But yeah, if you're on the phone, you're gonna have to touch the screen to get the options to come up so that you can turn on your mic. When you tap the screen, maybe you'll see like three little dots. You click on that, then you can turn on the volume and turn on your mic. Can somebody on the phone share some just real quick instructions on how to turn on the mic?
Islam, if you just touch on your screen in the bottom left-hand corner next to your video icon, there should be something that says it's either asks you to dial in using the audio. If you see that at the bottom, or is it a mic icon? Or at the top left hand, there should be a speaker icon. I'm not sure what device you're calling in from.
There we go. Has showing his mic is on.
Okay, Islam. Yeah, you're connected now. All right. Did you have a question? Or was that your question? Just trying to get in, get your mic on. All right. If you want to unmute, you have to tap the screen again. Yeah, you're unmuted now.
Come on. Right there. Islam,
right.
Chief
Yeah,
Lloyd.
Islam. We can hear you. Islam.
Islam, Chief Lloyd.
Islam. Yeah, where are you calling from, brother?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, so you're not that far from us. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, have you called in before?
Yes, sir, some months back.
Okay. All right, cool. So did you give your information already?
No, sir.
Okay, if you could just in the chat, just type your email, phone number, and we'll just we'll send you some information later on, probably tomorrow or later on this week. All right.
Okay.
Did you have any
Yes,
other
sir.
questions?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're gonna go over the Quran questionnaire, and after that we'll open up the floor to questions. So if anything comes to mind, feel free to ask. There's no shame, no nobody's expecting anyone to know all this stuff already. So, it's we don't shy away from questions. All right, yeah, I see you in the chat. Okay, cool. So yeah, just all right, yeah, so we got you. We'll put you down for Cincinnati. All right. All right. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We last left off question 11. Yeah, last class we were trying to just hurry up and go through the questions. We weren't really building in it in depth as it was windy up there, the top of that mound. But yeah, we can build a little more in depth in this, and just for so that you know really quickly without putting too much time into this, the reason why we do this every Sunday, we go through the Quran questionnaire. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali prepared for us almost 100 years ago, about 98 years ago. All right. When he put this together, the Quran questionnaire, and then also the Divine Constitution, and then also the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, he put our laws in here. All right. And he actually made a speech and he held these three items up and he said, now take these and save yourself. Why? Because he returned divine laws to us. On top of every page in our Quran, the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it says divine instructions from Allah, right? So it's got instructions in there to take care of our spiritual needs. He tells you, he lets you know that you're connected to Allah, Allah's buried within you, and then you're given steps and tools on how to bring that out, how to align with your higher self. We don't believe in this heaven and hell, all of this fake, stuff. We know that's all a state of mind, but you're not just giving that knowledge, right? Because you can get that knowledge online, but it doesn't do anything for you because nobody knows how to actually be God, right? Everybody's still struggling with the same stuff. Nobody's knowing. So you're giving steps on how to actually subdue the lower self, right? How to actually bring this about. And then we're given our laws on how to conduct ourselves and how to conduct our society so that what we build is actually built on a strong foundation instead of building from where we're at. We fail. Whatever we build as Negroes, as African Americans, whatever we calling ourselves, it's not built to last. It's not. Someone else can just come and take it over. We're victims as African Americans. We out here, we victims. They just kill us. Black Lives Matter. We can march and protest and do all this stuff, but we can't get anything done. So he's giving us something solid foundation. We're standing on the solid rock of salvation, right? So he returned the laws to us, everything to conduct ourselves, how to govern ourselves, how to govern our communities, and off of divine law, divine instruction, right? And so we go over it, we build on it so that it's understood because we're the foundation now, right? When he came at the time, I don't want to say our people weren't ready because he was right on time, but the people, he even allegedly said at that time that this is for, the later generations, for like the third generation, I believe, or third or fourth. So the young and yet unborn, that's who he came for. All right. And we just happen to be entering into the age of Aquarius, or we're already in the age of Aquarius. And we just happen to have something coming up right now. December 21st is when there's the great conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter, and they're going to be aligned at 0 degrees Aquarius. And this is not a coincidence that this celestial event is happening right now when we're entering into the age of Aquarius. So it's like, that's letting you know, for the whole planet to know, nah, this ain't no joke. We are into the age of Aquarius now. Things are changing. That's why we see so much crazy stuff happening. Everybody's making jokes about, oh, it's 2020. That's just 2020. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's making jokes about 2020 because all the crazy things that are happening. But this stuff has been building up for years. I was just saying this earlier today, for a whole lot of Europeans, it was the end of the world when President Obama became president. Just seeing somebody who looked like us in the White House, and then he brought his whole family in. He's married to an Asiatic woman, regardless of what anyone thinks about them. Just that imagery, that let a lot of them know it's the end. Okay? And so things have just been building up over all of this time, and then we just happen to have this great conjunction right now, and it's at 0 degrees Aquarius. It's letting the whole planet know we're in the age of Aquarius. A prophet comes before each new age to prepare the people. And so we're the foundation. And so we have to know this. We have to know our laws. We have to know how to make this work. We have to do it because the people before us couldn't get it done. You know, they kept it here for us. They didn't let it disappear. Most things just come and go, especially something like this. It would have just been a fad. It would have just disappeared. For some reason, everybody just waking up. They know they're Moors because it's in us. It's time. And so, yeah, it's not good enough, though, just to know that you're Moor. So we have to know our laws. We have to know who we are, how this works. And this is what we do. So we left off at question 11. We're doing 11 through 20. And we'll just build on those. And if anyone has questions or anything, you know, feel free to speak up. Yeah, you know, you can even unmute your mics. It's okay. So we're on question 11. Where was Noble Drew Ali born? And the answer is in the state of North Carolina, 1886. And just with this, you know, it's a fact that he was born here. He's from amongst us, one of us, and that's significant, right? Because in the Quran of Mecca, right, the Quran that the Prophet Muhammad revealed, in that Quran, in several different places, it says that prophets are raised from amongst the people, the nation that they came to redeem, right? And that just makes sense. The prophet must come from amongst the people and be speaking their language so that he understands their plight, right? He has to be from amongst those people. And so the Prophet Noble Drew Ali satisfied this. And so that's very important because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that or skip over that. Some people that consider themselves Muslims, you know, from, you know, Arabs, they may say, well, no, that's not true. He can't be a prophet. Prophet Muhammad was the seal of all the prophets. He was the last prophet. But that just shows that they don't even understand, and not speaking radically, but we have to reveal the truth. That just shows that they don't even understand their own religion. They're not even really reading their Quran, right? Because we can pull those places out of the Quran, right, on more than one occasion, where it's letting you know what? That the prophet has to come from amongst the people. And one place is in 1636, where it says, and we certainly sent into every nation a messenger, right, saying worship Allah and avoid idols, right? But that's not it. It's all throughout the Quran. And so that's important because this is just letting you know, like, the prophet was from amongst us. He was born in North Carolina, 1886. And then in that time too, that's letting you know, okay, all of the things that our people were struggling with and suffering through at that time, he's seeing it, he's witnessing it. He's coming up in 1886. So in the early 1900s, in Jim Crow era, he's seeing that stuff. He knows it's not a joke, right? So someone from another country, they wouldn't even really like be compassionate. They wouldn't even really understand what we're going through. Also in 14:4 in the Quran of Mecca, it says, we sent not a messenger except to teach in the language of his own people in order to make things clear to them. Right? And then also in 1047, and for every ummah, that's every nation, every community, there's a messenger. When their messenger comes, the matter will be judged between them with justice and they will not be wronged. The messenger is a Rasul. That's the highest prophet that there is. There's Nabis. Nabis are prophets. They prophesize about the future. But Rasuls, they prophesize and they also bring law. That's the highest form of prophet that there is. And it's saying in 1047, they're sending a messenger, a Rasul, to every nation. And the day is saying that God, Allah is saying this. For every ummah, there's a messenger. And when their messenger comes, the matter would be judged between them with justice and they will not be wronged. Okay? And so This is satisfying that, right? He came from amongst us and he witnessed the Jim Crow era. He saw that. He understood, right? So he came to redeem us from mental slavery. And that's the psychological thing that's got us trapped. This got us stuck, right? We're fighting oppression forever because psychologically we've been tricked out of who we truly are, and we're functioning under something that was created, right? And people don't even realize, as long as we're going along with that, we're the Europeans' creation, right? He created the Negro. He got somebody to make African American popular, but he created it, so he still has power over us, right? That means he gave us civilization. It's totally flipped around the opposite way. As his creation, he gave us civilization. He gave us a religion, right? He blessed us with Christianity and all this stuff. So we're like his pets, and they can abuse and all this stuff. So, the prophet gave us something. He gave us Islam, true Islam, so that we can step outside of that. And as Moorish Muslims, we're the creators of civilization. It's flipped back on them. Okay. And so moving on, question 2, what is his nationality? Moorish American, right? And then nationality means that a people linked by common descent from an accepted ancestor and sharing a common history, language, religion, land, culture, and way of life. All right. So every group of people has a nationality, and it's supposed to connect them to a specific region and a common ancestor. Right. So somebody, Japanese American, Chinese American, etc., they all have common ancestors, common regions. And also it means something. There's certain things that, on an individual basis, people can do anything. But as a whole, you could say, okay, well, Japanese people, they have a government. They're not uncivilized. They're capable of governing themselves, right? So it's extremely important to have those ties, to come from a civilized people, right? And so the prophet reestablished that for us. And this is a process too. So it's really important for us to recognize that. The prophet also established this process for us to come back in, to learn this, to teach this, and to set this up for our people as a system, right? So, as a creation of the European, he went around erasing our history and then boxed us into that label, the Negro, or whatever. They don't have a cultural identity, right? Even up to this day, we're ruled by fads, whatever they want to promote to us. But as Moorish Americans, we predate all that. We're returning to the ways of our ancestors. No, we're not going for whatever savagery, whatever message is being pushed today. So it's extremely powerful what was done and what we are continuing to this day, right? And then more is ancient. It predates all of that. Doesn't matter what you're looking at. The Professor G.M. James writing about stolen legacy. He's writing about ancient Egypt culture, and he lets it be known that the Moors are the caretakers of the wisdom from ancient Egypt. A book of the beginnings from Gerald Massey. He's in there describing ancient Egypt, and he says that Egypt was called Ta-Mori, and that even when you go into lands in the Pacific, like you got the Maori people in New Zealand, he's saying that name, Maori, comes from their connection to ancient Egypt, because Egypt wasn't just that region of the world that it is in today, the modern nation. It was a worldwide culture. So Ta-Mori, the Moorish people, they're all over the place. And that's why even in Easter Island, we have these statues that are wearing fezzes, and they're even red, right? Because it was a worldwide civilization. And so by being Moorish American, this ties you back into that. But we can't just do that and say I'm Moorish American and be savage, right? We have to also actually fix ourselves. Why? Because when we look at ancient Egypt, what were the ancients doing? They were subduing the lower self. And so this ancient message, this mysticism is returned to us. So it's something that you can't overlook. You can overlook it if you fake, if you're not real. But if you're real and you mean what you say, you can't overlook that. If you really are Moorish American, you're descendants of the creators of civilization. So for most of us, we have to know what that really means. And then we have to step in and actually be that. So what the prophet is, we are too. 13, what is your nationality? Moorish American, right? He tied us back into that. Our ancestors, we are who our ancestors were. But first we proclaim it. Okay, we're proclaiming it. Why? Because when you speak something, you're speaking it into existence, right? But then also with the Quran and with the lessons, we're changing our thought pattern. Thoughts are things, right? We don't want to just be running around, running our mouths, talking about I'm a Moor, but my pants are sagging, right? I'm a Moor, but I have children out here that I ain't even taking care of, right? No, now we have to be it. We have to be it. So first step is fixing myself, getting my stuff together, and then uplifting my thoughts, right? Has anyone ever seen the statues of the Pharaoh, right? Where they have that headdress on that comes down over their shoulders? You ever seen that? Because I seen one of them when they turn the statue to the side, they're like the camera's panning over to the side, and you see that he's not even just a headdress. He's actually got Horus, like he's got a hawk sitting on his back, and the hawk's wings are the headdress that's coming down over him, and that's letting you know that that Pharaoh was in alignment with his higher self, right? So he's in alignment with his higher self. He's walking in this realm, right? He's not ruled by the lower self. And so this is something that, you know, we've been working on for a while. It's an everyday process, right? It's not just something just to say or talk, I'm a God, I'm a Pharaoh, I'm God on earth. No, you have to be that. You have to subdue the lower self. Okay, so going on to question 14. Why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So of course we are who our forefathers were, right? We are still that today. And this is also letting it be known that, you know, we're not knocking the present day modern nation state of Morocco, right? There's a state, a nation in North Africa called Morocco. We're not knocking that. We're not necessarily saying that one region is where we come from, though, because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America, but we're looking at Morocco in the non-restrictive sense, because even that, let me get a map up. Even that one area of North Africa that is the nation of Morocco wasn't all of Morocco in the past, because you have other countries that border it. You have countries like Algiers, you have Libya. Okay, hang on, let me get this up. So you have all of these other places too that at different points in time would have been considered a portion of the Moroccan kingdom without doubt or contradiction, right? So that's not just in your opinion or my opinion. And this is what I mean, like we're looking at the map and okay, that's the modern nation of Morocco, right? You can barely see the borders, but that's Morocco. But then over here you have Algiers, Tunis, you know, Tunisia, Algeria down here beneath it, right? Western Sahara, Mauritania, and Mauritania, especially over here, because Mauritania, you have the Atlas Mountains, right? And I think they're close to the western. They're close to the Atlantic Ocean, right? So the Atlas Mountains are over here in Mauritania, and there's legends from the Berber people, the ancient Moors, who their descendants who still live in Mauritania to this day. Some of them are keeping their traditions alive. They have oral traditions going back to Atlantis, going back to where they actually have traditions of their people knowing about the continent splitting apart. And that could be where the name Atlas Mountains came from, Atlantis. And so I only say that to say that, okay, yeah, this is Morocco today. We're not knocking that. We're not disrespecting. We respect it, respect the king, everything that they have there. We respect it. But we're looking at Morocco in a non-restrictive sense. So all of these places in Africa, Tunis, Algeria, Libya, huge area, Egypt, right? Then you have Mali, Mauritania. They call this Western Sahara. This is something new. They just made this up. I don't even think Western Sahara is like 20 years old. So these borders, this means nothing to us. I mean, not disrespecting it, but just saying that's new. Senegal, right? They'll tell us we're from West Africa, somewhere in West Africa. Senegal, almost all of this, right? Ivory Coast, Ghana, a lot of this. Nigeria, or at least parts of Nigeria, Mali. So I'm not just gonna keep naming stuff, but just to let you know, like a lot of this was considered, at different points in time, part of the Moroccan kingdom. Even going up here, Spain, boom, all of this was Al-Andalus. It wasn't even Spain until, a few hundred years ago. And of course, yeah, Spain is right there. Right to this day, a lot of people from other countries in Africa, they'll say, what? Sub-Saharan, right? They'll put that on a Sub-Saharan African. Like that's some kind of knock. You the real black people, y'all Sub-Saharan. So all the Sub-Saharan, a lot of people from these countries come up to Morocco. Why? Because they try and sneak into Europe. You see how close it is to Spain? Al-Andalus was Morocco. that was us. Spain, Portugal, all that. There was no Portugal. All of this was Morocco. All right. And then by default, it was in other areas up in here too. And quiet as kept, it went over into here too as well. All right. Because we were here since before there was this ocean. This was a river. All right. So hopefully, I hope that don't sound too crazy, but we've been here that long. And this is what ties us back into that. We're looking at it in the non-restrictive sense, but to keep things simple, you can't go into a big history lesson with everybody you run into. Now, our ancestors came from Morocco. Our ancestors are the ancient Moroccans, right? And we're from America. We're born here, and that's the simplest way to explain it. But that it goes back farther than most people would understand. All right. So I'm moving on to question 15. But that's important for us to know, right? We have to know who we are, why we are who we say we are. And even if they want to put the label on us that we slaves, we all came over here on slave ships. Okay, fine. I mean, it's not true. But even if you want to throw that on us, I mean, don't they always show us the okay, they'll say that we came from West Africa. They'll tell you that. They'll act like we all came from West Africa somewhere. They don't really know where. All right. But when you go to certain places like Ghana, like there's it looks like a castle. They say it's like a dungeon there where like they said it was like a port, where they were, basically pushing the slaves through, pushing the prisoners of war, right? So even if you want to put that on us, we're Moors. Either way, because the kingdom expanded all throughout here. All right. So it doesn't matter how you want to cut it. We're Moors. And the prophet tied us back into that. So going to now to question 15. See, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? And then the answer is for the uplifting of fallen humanity. All right. And we know that this begins with us, right? And it's sacred. This is a sacred mission, but it begins with us because we went from the creators of civilization to almost just savagery, to where we don't even know that that's who we are. We're so disconnected from it, right? We've fallen so far. And so it has to begin with us. All right. And we have a purpose that's twofold. It's taking we're taking care of our earthly and our spiritual salvation, right? Earthly and divine. But just I don't want to really speak on all the negative aspects that are put on us, like being criminals and all this stuff. We don't all go that far into it, but still we've fallen away from our true nature. And so our message, our mission is first to return to our status, return to who we truly are, right? Because in reality, we're the creators of all this. We're the scientists. We have to return to that. And so first we're picking ourselves up. And in doing that, the entire world will follow, because even in our low status, our fallen state, we still influence everyone, right? We have a huge influence of, there is no American culture without us. You remove us from the picture, Europeans can't even travel. And I know that just from living in Brazil, seeing that up close and personal. If there's no Will Smith, there's no Obama and Beyonce and all these people, there was a lot of hatred for, and just people being tired of Europeans in general, right? Bush was president, people were really fed up. So if you took us out of the picture, Americans would be hated worldwide, right? And so we contribute so much to this, and then so much influence, but we're doing it in our low state. So we come to uplift ourselves first. And by doing that, by default, we influence the entire world. So there will be people in Japan and in other places who will be learning this, because they will be copying us. And I don't want to say copying like they're copycats or anything, but they'll be following our lead. They will learn from us, right? We don't have to go out there preaching to them. All we have to do is get ourselves together, and everyone will follow suit, right? And especially all of the Asiatic people in the world, which is pretty much everyone except for the European. All right, so we have a huge sphere of influence. And then how did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves, who we truly are. Returning to our ancient ways is what's most important, right? We weren't being ourselves. There was, we were conditioned to go away from our natural ways, right? Hating ourselves, hating our own image, everything. It's even to the point now where there's a lot of backwards thinking in our community. We're supposed to be family oriented, and it's just we've gotten away from all of these things. So we're returning back to that. And by returning to the ways of our ancient forefathers, and these are the founders of the first civilizations in the world. Naturally, by doing this, then we're producing more scientists, more mathematicians. Now we can really advance things to where they're supposed to be at. And by us not being in that state, that's holding the whole world back, right? So all we have to do is return to who we truly are, right? One thing I know, with the culture now, and it's been going on for 30 years or so, is promoting that it's cool to be stupid, ignorant, an airhead, empty, shallow. That's promoted to our people. So we have to return to our own ways. We return to our own ways. It doesn't matter what somebody else is trying to make look cool. That, fads and stuff like that, that's corny. That's play. We don't even, that doesn't even appeal to us if we have something stronger. This is the only salvation for us, right? For many of us, this is the only way to get through to your children and your grandchildren, to know that you have something greater than some stupid fad that is being pushed. Something that's trying to push you to be, you know, shallow and stupid, a criminal, backwards. That stuff, you know, Savage. They had, it's crazy. They actually have songs called Savage. Like, what? There's no way that can appeal to you though if you know who you truly are. So this is the only salvation. There's a lot of movements and things that people have tried, but they don't cover all the bases. This covers it. So we have to be on it though. If we're not on it, it doesn't work. So 17, what is our religion? And the answer is Islamism. Okay, and remember, because you know, a lot of us, we get away from religion. We're thinking religion's bad because of what we experienced, right? But you know, the looking at the word religion, looking at the Latin prefix re, that means back again, right? Ligare, that means to tie back or fasten, right? So the religion is to tie back or bind back to the original source. And we know the original source is Allah, right? So we're relearning our relationship to Allah. Allah was buried within us, right? So we're connected to Allah, and by default, we're connected to the entire universe, right? And we're not caught up in the different schisms, the different doctrines that are out there. We're not stuck in all of these things. We get to the root of it. We know that even in the Bible, like, we're not knocking Christianity, it may not be best for us, but we know that even in the Bible, in several places, right, Jesus is telling the people that they'll do even greater things than him, that they're all sons of God. But if you listen to most services, they're telling you Jesus is the Son of God. Why are they leaving that out? Do they even know that? Are some of these preachers and people that ignorant that they don't even know that's in the Bible? Or are they leaving that out on purpose? You know, and it's the same way like with the different sects in Islam and all these other religions too, right? But that's behind the times. That's backwards. The new age and the new thought is coming through. This is what all types of people are learning and gravitating towards, because the Christ consciousness is returning to the entire planet. That's what's coming through with one of the things with this great conjunction. It's just another milestone, another checkpoint that's letting us know, hey, this consciousness is returning to the planet. More and more people are waking up. So anyone who's pumping that old time stuff, they're behind the times. And so the prophet was ahead of his time. You know, we know our true connection to God. Allah is within us, is within all. And we are to return to this higher self, this higher, your connection to Allah through the higher self. So we're to return to that, right? We don't have to be ruled by passions and desires, the body's consciousness, the lower self. All right. So, our religion is Islamism. You know, the Islam, you could say that means submission, surrender to the obedience or will of Allah. Ultimately, if you know Allah is in you and you're submitting to that, that also means that you're subduing the lower self. So a lot of people are leaving that out because they're still putting this devil, this shaitan, or whatever they want to call it, outside of you, right? But we know that it's in us. So if we're submitting to that, that means we're quieting our mind. Even if you're not meditating every day, you're working towards that, making that 10 minutes or so a day that you can quiet the mind, because Allah's in you. So you're surrendering to that, right? You're getting back in alignment with that. I think I sent everybody that meditation MP3. If you haven't checked it out, just put some headphones on. It's only like 22 minutes long. Just put some headphones on and close your eyes. All right. And that's something that we all need to do more. You don't have to overkill with it, but just 15, 20 minutes a day. All right. And this is what we're all returning to. All right. So basically this is what we're returning to with Islamism. We're putting this into action. We're making this a way of life. It's not just rituals and things that we're practicing. We're putting this into action. We know that it's alive. It's in us. All right. Question 18, is that a new or is that the old time religion? We know that our religion is the old time religion because this is connecting us to the root. This is something that is actually universal, right? So nobody can come to you and say, you have to learn Arabic to be a real Muslim. Like, what? You're trying to limit Allah to a language in a region? Get out of here with that mess. Your culture. You're trying to limit it to your, like, get out of here. Nobody, like, in all honesty, what the prophet gave us is specifically for us so that we don't have to go to somebody else and sit at their feet. Like, we're not sitting at the, and I don't say this to knock Arabs, but we don't have to go and sit at their feet to learn from them how to be better Muslims. We don't have to. We have the source. These are divine instructions from Allah. We don't have to go to anyone else because someone else who's not used to being in that position where people are coming to them, seeing them as an authority. You know, now you had the Moorish American who doesn't even know who he is. He's coming to you for guidance. It's like, no, we don't have to do that because then they're going to tell you, hey, well, yeah, you need to learn Arabic. You need to take on an Arabic name. Like, no, what does that have to do with anything? And then what are you going to be teaching me? The shaitan, Satan is out there, right? No, we don't need that. We have the source. It doesn't mean we can't learn from other people and everything. It's just that we have our own, right? We can go right to the root. And even just in this little booklet, the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America is what, 64 pages, 65 pages, something like that. Right, that's good enough. All right, and this is universal. Okay, so, you know, being at peace with the universe, making this a way of life. That's basically Islamism. Okay, and we're returning to that. That's the root. So this is ancient. This predates everything. This is something that's all over the universe. Question 19, what kind of flag is the Moorish? And then the answer is it is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the middle. And, you know, once again, the prophet is returning us to the root. All right. And everything is symbolic. Like, it's a red flag. The color red, like with the, what is the color red as far as the chakras are concerned? It's the root chakra. So we're being returned to our roots. And the flag is red. This is the root. This is to get us back into that because, you know, they also say that the red represents the blood. It's the root chakra. We're coming right back into our roots. We're told that the flag is over 10,000 years old. It's over 50,000 years old, right? So this predates all known civilizations. Not saying that's the oldest, but it predates all known. We're returning to the root, okay? And so that's powerful, you know. And then green is in the middle. Green, what chakra is that? That's the heart chakra. So that's right there in the middle. And where can we meet Allah? In the heart, right? So this is important for us. The flag, it's not just the national symbol. This is powerful. This is, you know, this also represents our religion to us as well. It's a religious flag. It's international, right? This is why somebody from Haiti could also fly that flag, right? They will be Moorish Haitian or Moorish Brazilian, right? Because they, you know, they could just, the same way we annex it, we have it next to the flag of the United States of America, they'll have it next to the Haiti flag, right? And one thing about the USA flag, right? Because I used to call the United States of America, I used to call it United Snakes of America. and spell America with 3 Ks like the KKK, right? But that's because I didn't really know anything, right? I'm looking at it, thinking about all the abuses and stuff that our people suffered. But in reality, like I didn't realize that our people created this country and created this government, that it's all based off of us. Why? Because they didn't teach us that. Why would they teach us that? They're not going to tell you that they came here and they saw the freedoms that we had over here, that we already had these governments set up where we had representatives in it. And we had men and women serving in, leadership, which is another thing, because they'll try to play us against each other. And if any of us get caught up in that, we're foolish, because we've never been about that. We're not about, holding our women down or hating the men, acting like we don't need the men. Like, that's ridiculous. We've never been like that. So they came here, they saw us, we had representatives in government, we had civilization and buildings and all of these things, right? And the Constitution, they don't tell you that the Constitution was based off of the Great Law of Peace. It may be mentioned in like one sentence out of the whole history book. They don't tell you what that really means. Just the fact that the Constitution was based off of these so-called Indians. Wait, hold up. Y'all need to explain that, because y'all act like they were savages. How could they have a Constitution? Right? Because we had all of these tribes. There's a documentary called 500 Nations. So we had all these different tribes, but there were some who were unified, and they had a constitution binding them all together as a nation, right? And this is what the European came into, and we taught them that. And that's why they still, in a deceptive way, pay homage to us. This is what we saw in Philadelphia, right? We saw the statue to Chief Tamanin. And they're not going to show him like with an afro or dreadlocks or something so that you know that obviously he's one of us. But they have Tamanin up there, right? This big copper statue, okay? And then they also have Tamanin Hall, but nobody knows that in the early 1900s, late 1800s, this is where all the Europeans were coming in to learn what it means to be an American. They're all coming to Tamanin Hall to learn civics and to learn, how to be a part of this civilization, how America works, right? And they're still paying homage to that to this day, right? And then, of course, they're not teaching you that Chief Tamanin is who William Penn encountered, that he gave William Penn a so-called Indian name, right? And taught him the ways, right? They're coming over here, they're acting like we want to practice, we want freedom of religion. We want to get out from under the tyranny that we're suffering in Europe. And we're like, okay, well, y'all can have this portion over here, right? And they later on flip that on us. But they're not teaching you this. So we don't know that even later on that we had a play in the creation of this government, the flag, all of this stuff is all ours, right? So I don't care what anyone else is saying. We're not giving up any of this. It's ours, okay? And so, yes, there's wisdom in how the prophet set this up. Yeah, we fly the flag of the United States of America and the Moorish flag. And yeah, the red, white, and blue is based off of the Red Sea, the white and the blue Nile, or the red, white, and blue crowns of Egypt. And, sometimes the pharaoh would have the red, white, and blue crown combined, meaning that they unified all the crowns. That's still based off of us. Why? Because Egypt was a worldwide civilization. And in our Quran, what does the prophet tell us about our own history? Right? In chapter 47, we were given permission from who? The pharaohs of Egypt to come over here and settle. All right? And then we were over here before the Atlantic Ocean was created, before the continents broke up. All right? So, yeah, that's ours. Egypt was a worldwide civilization ran by Moors. Okay? And so, yeah, that's ours, and we're not giving it up. And Just wanted to say that, you know, and then of course what kind of flag is the Moor? It's just a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the middle. This is our flag, but it's not limited to just one region, right? Because we had a worldwide empire. We had a worldwide civilization. Okay. And this is also why, they have our symbols on the dollar. And we would look at that pyramid that's on that dollar and think that that's something that's over there, right? That why do they have an Egyptian symbol on the dollar? But then you find out that they found that stuff over here as well, right? It's the same thing, the same pyramid that was found that you see on the dollar was found over here in Ecuador. 13 steps with the Eye of Providence in the capstone. Okay, so that's letting you know like what the prophet brought, that he was truly on point. He reconnected us to it. And if we want to be who we truly are, we have to step in and follow these divine instructions, right? We can't just walk around talking the talk. We have to walk the walk. All right, so these are the keys for us to truly do it. There's no doubt or contradiction about who you are. All right, you really are an El or a Bay. It's not just something that you just do online, right? Yeah, go on and take the plunge. Come on in all the way and move with your fellow Asiatics as a unit. All right. But, this is all based off of us. And it was a worldwide civilization, and it's known, and it's not common knowledge, but it's known. And the only thing that ties you into that is by being a Moorish American. All right, there's no reason logically from what they teach us that this should be on the dollar. It makes no sense. And okay, it's on the dollar where they could say, oh, it's, because the Freemasons, we like ancient Egypt. But no, why was this found over here in Ecuador? And why did it have a writing on it, a system of writing that's been found in artifacts all over the world? And then why is it that this script that's on here able to be translated by somebody from Mauritania who's a Berber, the Berber people, Moors? Why is he able to understand this? Right? So this is no joke. There's no other way around it. We have to step back in and be who we are. So let's go to the last question. What do the 5 points represent? And this is truly, powerful. This is universal. Nobody can come against this, right? The 5 points represent what? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And, for us, these are universal principles, right? These are the divine principles. This is the highest conception of perfection, right? And they exist beyond time and space. It's universal. And then it's also in our nature. And this is also unchanging. Right? So these are the highest principles known to man. And this is something also that I was saying, we will wind up teaching this to the world, but we won't teach it by being annoying and telling people. We'll teach it by living it, basing our civilization off of this. That's the only way out of this, because obviously, like, not knocking the Europeans or anyone else, but they're not going to do it. They're going to keep polluting the ocean. They're going to keep trying to give us vaccines and all this other stuff and trying to scheme, what kind of lies and things they could push over us, all this other stuff. That's what they're going to do. We're going to, make the 5 highest principles known to man a part of our civilization. Everything is going to be based off of this. And that's how things improve. That's how you do away with hunger and, crime and pollution and all of these things. That's the only way. All right. So this is for everyone's salvation, ultimately. All right. And yeah, that's why we study this, because it's it can't be skipped out. It's extremely important, and we have to know it because there's no one else to teach this to us. It's on us, right? The burden has fallen on us for whatever reason. You are here and you are ready to do it, even if you don't think you are. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't even be here. There's a million other things you could be doing right now, right? There's no one else. And for whatever reason, we're strong enough to do it. Even if there's not a million of us, we're strong enough to do it. That's why we're here, right here and now. All right. So Islam, I love you all. Thank you all for coming today. That's all I wanted to share on that. Does anybody else have anything they want to speak on? Anything they want to share? If so, I yield the floor.
Islam. First and foremost, I like to rise and give praise to Allah, honors to His Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, honors to all you Moors in attendance. I just want to add that this is the 12th month of our calendar year. We know the significance of 12. All right. We have the summer solstice, the winter solstice, excuse me, coming up on the 21st. Okay, that is very significant. And remember, 12 means spiritual fulfillment. Do not forget your keys. Everything that we study and that we go over is for a reason. This is not just a lullaby that you listen to every week and then go back to sleep or just go back to your regular schedule, day. Take this information and apply it, because knowledge is only wisdom when it is applied. If you don't apply it, it's nothing. It means nothing. You get nothing out of it. Islam. Um, so just remember, this month is important. They distract you with the shopping and the holidays and the hustle and bustle and the trees. Everybody I talk to, all my clients talk about putting up trees. I'm like, come on. The only tree we talk about is the tree of life, right? They don't want to hear that. That's too much. But as Moorish American scientists, we know that we don't hurt anyone's feelings because we know more. You know, we spoon feed them a little bit at a time, and sometimes they'll come around and sometimes they won't. But as long as you do your part, Islam. So just remember to be grateful every day. Every day, be grateful for something in your life. And the more that you're grateful, the more you are magnifying good into your life. You are manifesting your desires. You are making your dreams come true. Set your goals. Stick to that 40-day master system. Do it all the way through, Muslims. I cannot emphasize that enough. Do it. Stick with it. Because what is the foe of man? Inconsistency. You have to be consistent in this. If you cannot be consistent every day and use your principles, you're not going to get it. All this is for nothing, Islam. So just be more, be yourselves, study self and teach everybody who wants to hear. Teach them, let them know, because you are a light shining in this darkness. And for that, I say honors to you, Islam. I yield the floor.
Islam. Excuse me. The camera back on that. I would say in our lives, we walk in paths. And the paths that we walk, we need to know the principles that we walk in. So the prophet gave you a guideline of what to walk in, and it's not really that hard. So Islam, I would just say to simply do the 5 principles first, as well as the 40-day, because 40-day actually does work. And if you look into it with all the aspect of it and just do it day by day, and our people have a tendency that we want to do everything at once. And Islam, we need to not focus on that, because that's not pretty much our nature. Our nature is, it is a day by day process to see the growth of Islam. I yield the floor.
Islam, gratitude to you both. Want to announce without further ado, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. Brother Jackson Bey, are you able to read the divine warning?
Islam. Praise to Allah, honest to you Muslims. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations, the citizens of all free national governments according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to their names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God of Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government of the earth. Pardon me. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls and under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those who know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money does not make the man. It is free national standard and power that makes a man and nation. The wealth of all nations, gold and silver, and commerce belongs to the citizen alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from constitutional law of this government. I am dependent on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold, and again that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mind back to their free national and divine standards, because day by day they have violated the national and constitutional laws of their government, and by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional, by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike and all other governments when man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, and exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standard of law by name and principle, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, and the same word and the same as the word color deludes to anything painted, varnished, or dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy father and thy mother, your days will be lengthened upon the earth. This These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by the nations of the earth that are recognized by the said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendment brought the North and South in the Union, placing the Southerner who were at the time without power with the constitutional body of power. And at the time, in 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced in 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statement. Then the lion and the lamb can lay down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in the land. And in those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, and etc. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and law, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and mere ideas of men that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding, they fall they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavors in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on the earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South, and I have examined the conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives a life. And I am hereby calling on true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light from the prophet.
Islam, gratitude, brother. All right, before we close, does anybody have anything they wanted to announce? Right. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Everyone, please rise for the closing prayer. All right. Facing the east. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name in the seven Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism.
Islamism.
Right, peace and love, Morris.
Islamism. Peace and love.
Islamism, peace and more. Peace and love, Morris.
Peace and love. Islamism.
Love.
Islam.